Hey, so I got both those bearing races pressed in. The bottom bearing race is pressed all the way in. It's sitting on the shoulder. It's where it's going to be for hopefully a very long time. This bearing is stationary when you're setting up the pinion. But as for the top side, I press this bearing race in, but not all the way in, and have it bottom out on the race or on the shoulder, because this bearing is going to move down, and the further it goes down, the more load it has on your bearings, therefore the more rolling torque you will have. So just get that bearing race started, just enough so you can get your nut started on your yoke. So quick example, the bearing installed, just slap it on quick. You'll be using this nut to suck it all down and tightening it to a certain spec, and that's when you check your rolling torque. So once that bearing's pressed all the way down into that, I should have enough threads to get this nut started, and I can start checking my rolling torque. And mostly you probably already know, but if it's just an everyday car, you can just use your crush sleeve, your typical crush sleeve. But for performance application, you should be using the shims when you're setting up your preload on your bearings. So more shims, less preload, less shims, more. So yeah, let's go from there, start shimming and screw around with this. Hey guys, so just before I get this pinion together, I just wanted to show you the shim kit that came in the kit that I purchased. I bought this kit from, I believe it was Quick Performance. Came with the center section, pinion support. It came with everything besides the spool in the gear. So I just wanted to show you the shim kit. I think Strange sells the exact same one. So that's the shim kit. It's got 2 races. The bearings go in between both of the races. And it's got 2 different sides. Inner radius is small and this is bigger. So pretty straightforward. The big radius goes on the big bearing. See, it sits on the bearing properly, where if you had it opposite and this one on the small bearing, it would be sitting on your cage, and once you tighten down your nut to set your preload, it would damage the bearing. So I just thought I'd show you that, guys. That smaller one, see, it sits on the inner piece of the bearing like it should be. So yeah, just thought I'd show you guys that. It took me a second just to figure it out, so I thought I'd show you. Anyways, start shimming and setting up the preload. Hey, so as you can tell in the video there, I'm actually using the press to seat the bearings, and I'm just kind of going off by that, by feel. I started off with all the shims. It was extremely loose, so I took all the shims out, and I think I put a 10/1000 shim back in. That snugged it up a lot, too much. New bearings, they asked for 25 inch-pounds, and that was way past. It was probably 75. So took it back apart. Now there's 15 thou worth of shim in there. Starting to feel better. I still have to put the nut on and torque it, but I'm just going off by feel for now to get me in the ballpark. I haven't done a whole bunch of rear ends in cars, but heavy equipment at work, I do a few. I've done a few. Just the difference there is size. The ring gear on some of the machines are the size of my slicks. Same idea, just smaller. So yeah, I'll go ahead, torque that nut up, and see where we're at. Torquing it to 250 foot-pounds. There it is, guys. 25 inch-pounds, right on, perfect. Don't forget to oil your bearings. But yeah, that's the worst thing about these shim kits is you got to take them apart and put them back together about 4 times so you get it correct. But it's good now, and it should be good for quite some time. All I got to do is take this pinion back apart, clean everything, install a lip seal in it, put it back together, and then I can move on to putting the third member completely together, setting up your gear pattern and backlash, and then slapping it into the car. So yeah, I think that's going to be it for tonight. And yeah, we'll pick up tomorrow morning. Hey guys, so now it is morning. I'm gonna go ahead, disassemble this pinion, get it all cleaned up, put it back together with the lip seal in it, and then that will be done, and then I can move on to setting up a backlash pattern for the gears and getting this thing all buttoned up today. So yeah, go ahead, I'll get all this done, and then I'll pick up from there. Hey, so I got the ring gear all installed. Sometimes you have to heat the ring gears up in order to get them onto the carrier, but this one I just was able to get the bolt started into it, and it just sucked it up good. Gotta get these bolts torqued up. I'll pull these ones out, put some Loctite on them and the rest of them, and then yeah, get them torqued up. Hey, so just about to slap the pinion into the housing here. I counted up all the shims. There's 55 thou worth of shims. I'm just going to cut it in half and go from there. Usually if you're rebearing or replacing a gear set of a rear end that's already been together, you can usually put the original shim back into it and it'll be good, or it'll be super close. Everything being new, I'm going to have to start from scratch here, so it's going to take a little bit, but yeah, I'll get these shims on, put the pinion in, get it torqued down. I'll move the ring gear into the pinion, get my backlash to where it should be close, check the pattern, and then go from there, start removing or adding shims. Hey, so I got it all together. I actually got the dial indicator on it now, and I'm just checking backlash. So right now it's zeroed. If this thing would focus for once. And you can probably hear it. It's pretty tight. It's about 4 thou. So I'll have to open that up. Just pretty much think of it. You got to move that ring gear away from it in order to open up that gap to allow more backlash. Loosen this nut off, tighten this one up, and then yeah, mess around with it. And I'll put some paint on these teeth and check my gear pattern and go from there. Okay, so just checking my pattern right now. I'll try to explain this as simple as I possibly can. This is your ring gear, so this is your toe of your gear. This is the heel of your gear. As you can tell by the pattern that you're looking at, that's no good. So this is the coast side of the gear. This is the drive side of the gear, if this would focus, but for the coast side, it's about 3/4 down into the toe of the gear, and then it works its way out to the heel. Where on the back side, this is the drive side, it's about 3/4 into the heel of the gear, and then it works its way out into the toe. So it separates. It's pretty much the opposite on each side. So you can find one of these charts pretty much everywhere on the web. So I'm just going off by this one. You just compare what your pattern looks like to what you see on one of these charts, and it will tell you what you need. So I'm going with this one, the second one down. This is your coast side. So the side you're looking at right there. It's about 3/4 down into the root, and then it works its way up out of the heel, which is pretty much what you're looking at there. 3/4 down in, and it works its way out. And then for the drive side, which is this side here, it's about 3/4 into the heel, but then it works its way out into the toe. So this side doesn't show the best on camera, but it's about 3/4 down into the heel, but then it works its way out into the toe. So what this tells you here, it's just confirm your backlash is correct, and then it says thinner pinion gear depth shim required. I'll have to take this apart, put another shim pack in, put it back together, and go from there and see if that corrects it, or if it's going in the right direction. I might have to add even some more. pull this apart, put some more shims in, and we'll try it again. Hey guys, so I ended up, I threw 3 thou worth of shim in there just to see what it did, and I wish it would pick up. It does look a lot better, but I still think I need to put a little bit more into it. So backside looks actually a lot better, especially on this tooth right here. But anyways, I won't show you every freaking step I do here, but I think I'll just mess around here with the shims, get it to where I'm happy with, and then I'll show you the end result. Hey guys, so I actually just noticed I had a big smudge on the lens of this camera. I apologize if this whole video is blurry, but yeah. Anyways, finally got the pattern to where I'm happy with it. Actually went from 31 thou, 35 to 38, which is what it's at now, and I was happy with. But just me being me, I was picky, and I thought I'd try it once more. I put 3 more thou in at 41, and I noticed the pattern starting to get away from me. I think 38's the number. I'm happy with it. That's the coast side. It's in the center of the gear. Dry side, it's center of the gear. So I'm more than happy with that. I'm sure there's going to be people out there that tell me that's no good and blah, blah, blah. But that's nature of the beast, the internet. I'm happy with it. And yeah, we'll give her a try. Now I just need to lock everything down. I think my locks still line up, which is freaking awesome. I just can screw those in. I just got to double check my rolling torque, make sure it's not too much or too little, and then it should be really it. Clean it up, lube up the bearings, torque everything down for the final torque, and I can slap it in the car. So, hey guys, so it's another morning, and I actually got the third member all installed. It's all torqued up, good to go. Looks pretty insane in there now with all the bolts sticking out of it, but yeah, looks freaking awesome. I actually went ahead and I already got the driver's side axle all installed. I pressed the bearings on, got the wheel studs in. I did have to modify my caliper bracket just to fit over the bigger axle, but I just had to file it a bit in order to get it over the hump. But yeah, should be good. I'll have to drill my rotors actually because they're for 1/2-inch studs. So I'll have to drill out the holes so they fit the new 5/8. But yeah, I think I'll go ahead and I'll press the bearings onto the passenger side axle. And then, yeah, go from there. That'll probably be it. Hey guys, so I figured I'd show you my new axles before I get them all installed into the car, and you'll never see them again. So I did have previously 31-inch Spline strange axles in the car with 1/2-inch wheel studs. Just after getting the car weighed, being 3,500 pounds, and we're starting to knock the 60-foot away with the car, I think it was time for a much needed upgrade. Upgraded to some 40 Spline gun drilled axles. So for those of you who don't know what gun drilled is, to save some weight out of these axles, they actually drill the center out of them. It's actually pretty crazy how light these axles are, being how big they are. Just thought I'd kind of compare them. My 31-inch splines, they held up fine. The splines are still straight. It's not like they're twisted or anything. Even my wheel studs, the 1/2-inch wheel studs, they're not bent or anything. I know Lee went through a couple sets of 1/2-inch studs and then did the final upgrade to 5/8. So I wasn't there quite yet, but I think it was just a matter of time till I broke one, bent some of the studs. So like I said, much needed upgrade. And yeah, start getting these bearings installed onto the axles. Comes with a spacer. That's what pretty much sets your offset for your brakes. So that goes on first. It's got a radius, so that fits the shape of the axle perfectly. As you can tell, it's radius at the bottom, so that fits perfect. These bearings, they're all self-sealed and self-lubed. So instead of having the tapered bearings like this, must be a ball bearing, but it's all self-sealed and contained. So that's nice as well. So the O-ring, that's what seals it all. Bearing goes on like that, O-ring closest to the housing. And then this is pretty much the retainer, which pretty much retains the bearing onto the axle. So just extra security. So yeah, I'll put this in the press and get it installed. Hey guys, so if you made it this far into the video, huge thumbs up to you guys, and huge thank you. I know I can get lost and ramble on here and there, but if you learned something, or if I kept you entertained for 15 minutes or so, that's a bonus. So I'll quickly show you underneath the car if everything's complete. I still have some last minute few ends underneath the car, brake lines. I got to set everything up, pinion angle, but for the most of it, the big part is done. I actually added another bar that ties in my lower control arm mount into the frame as well, so everything's nice and sturdy. I can beat on it pretty hard. Yeah, I'll show you that here now. So I added this bar right there, which ties into my lower control arms there, and right there. So everything's nice and sturdy. Looks pretty insane underneath here. Like I said, I got some last minute adjustments and things to tie up, but for the most part it's complete. I'll show you the back as well. That's what it looks like. Turned out pretty freaking awesome. That's pretty much it, guys. I've got still some last minute things to do. I still got to bolt everything down. Hopefully get the car running this weekend. I do have to build a blocking plate for the back because I removed my back seat. So I have to block that off, obviously, from the fuel cell. But small last minute things. The main thing is pretty much complete the rear end, so that's a bonus. But yeah, like I said, enough of me rambling on here. I apologize about the hairdo. I kind of look like a Canadian version of Cletus McFarlane, but just everything going on in the world, COVID. I can't go get my hair cut, and I don't trust my girlfriend to cut my hair, so it's going to be like this for a little while. But yeah, as for COVID, I hope everybody out there is safe. If it's affected you or work, we'll get through it. Just a matter of time. It seems to be coming around, at least up here in Canada. Sounds like they're going to slowly start to open things here up shortly. That's really going to be it for this video, guys. Hopefully I kept you entertained and then maybe you learned something. So stay safe. As always, like, comment, definitely hit that subscribe button if you have not already. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. See you guys. Hey guys, just about done editing this video. I just wanted to put this in here. Don't go off any of the specs or torque specs that I put in this video. Go off the specs that the manufacturer gave you from the gear set that you bought from them. I actually put a Pro gear in this car. So that's a bigger pinion. It's instead of a 28 spline pinion, it's a 35 spline pinion. And the Pro gears are a softer material than the street gears. So if you put a street gear set in a car like this, you're more prone to breaking the smaller pinion or breaking teeth off because it's such a hard material. Where these Pro gears, they wear out faster, but you're less prone to be breaking teeth off the gears. So I just want to put that in there. Go off the specs that the manufacturer gave you from the gear set that you bought from them. So yeah, anyways, talk to you guys. See ya.